Katie.
Hi, Eliza. I have kind of a big question for you.
Go ahead.
What defines a business, and how do we capture and express that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So at Enigma, we think of businesses in kind of their three core entities: the brand, the legal entity, and the operating location. And these help us capture how businesses really operate.
Can you explain more?
Yeah, so maybe we can look at an example.
Sure.
I could show you what the data looks like for Blank Street Coffee, say, in our console. The brand is called Blank Street Coffee. And then if we dig a bit deeper, the legal entity is called Blank Street Inc. The brand is really how this business is presenting itself to customers. And then the legal entity is just how it's recognized by the government. So here you can actually see that the legal entity Blank Street Inc. was first registered in New York in 2020 and then expanded to Massachusetts and DC in 2022. But what if I'm a payment processor who's selling to restaurants or coffee stores like Blank Street? Then the thing I probably actually care about are the operating locations. If we want to look at that Blank Street coffee store down the block, then that's an operating location. And that's what bridges the legal and customer-facing sides of the business. If we look at Blank Street Coffee's locations, we can actually see that they're located in the three different states: New York, Massachusetts, and DC, where the legal entity has active business registrations. And you can also see the customer card spend and see how each of the locations has grown since it opened.
What about a larger coffee store chain?
Yeah, so we could look at Dunkin'. In this case, we have a brand, Dunkin', or formerly Dunkin' Donuts. And you can see actually here there are dozens of legal entities that are licensed to do business as this brand. So if we click into some of the operating locations, we can even see which legal entity they're actually owned by. In this case, if we think about that definition of a business, then here the brand Dunkin' is a single brand that appears at thousands of locations. Some are run by the original company and others are run by franchisees or affiliates.
Complex.
Yeah, and it can get even more complex still. Businesses can include multiple legal entities, or we could have multiple brands owned by a single entity. Brands could be franchised like Dunkin', and then we can even see people acting as brands as well.
So people acting as brands.
Yeah, people like therapists, hairstylists, insurance agents, or healthcare professionals. They might do business under their personal name. Our data model can recognize and capture all of this nuance so that we end up with brands, legal entities, and locations that are connected in the ways that actually represent how they operate in the real world.
I never thought of businesses like that before. Where do we get all this information and how do we piece it all together?
It starts with millions of raw records from trusted data sources like government databases, company websites, franchise filings, and healthcare databases. And from these, we extract entities and relationships. Then we run them through our own entity resolution pipeline and add new relationships. And really the goal of that is to make sure that this Blank Street Coffee and this data set over here is recognized as the same brand as this Blank Street Coffee in a data set over there. And then we could connect it to each of its operating locations and legal entities. So it can be complicated, but we've found a way to capture that complexity and make it useful for our customers.